Welcome back to the channel. Today I have 6 new knives to share with y'all and 2 different sharpeners to share with y'all. We'll try to get through all of them. If I don't make it through all of them, I'll do 2 separate parts. I'll have everything linked down in the description if you're interested in anything. First up, we have the Kizer Drop Bear and the Nebula Fat Carbon. This particular one has an S45 VN blade, their clutch lock. And what's so cool about this one, this is the one with the DLC finish. I'm pretty sure they have it DLC'd pocket clip as well. It's a milled tie clip. And this is the first time that Kizer has done a DLC finish. So I'm going to test this pretty darn hard. I would like to know down in the comments which I would like me to cut with this to see how well this DLC coating holds up. I figured I'd go through a progression, do some of my normal stuff, cardboard, maybe some wood, and then kind of increase it as I go up, maybe with some aluminum and maybe wire, copper, and then so on and so forth. First, I would definitely like to start with things that you would do with the knife. You know, if you're an electrician, you skin a lot of wire or, you know, like that. I don't want to go crazy with it because there's no real point in that if it's not something that you would actually do with a knife. But, you know, toward the end, yeah, I might go as far as it can possibly take it. But I'd love to hear y'all suggestions. Boy, it's going to stink to mess this blade up because it looks absolutely stunning and it's a very even DLC coating. Now, if you don't know what DLC is, DLC stands for diamond-like carbon, and it's the hardest blade coating that I'm aware of that you can get on a knife. It can rock well from 72 all the way up to 98 HRC. Now, it's all going to depend on how it was applied and what type of DLC. But usually you see the DLC finishes on most knives at around the 72 HRC, which is super, super hard. And it should be very, very scratch resistant, abrasion resistant, protect your blades from the elements, from chemicals. And so very cool that they did this. Hopefully we see more DLC finishes on the Kizer knives. I think it looks great. Way better than the other coating. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see me cut up with this knife. All right, y'all probably saw this on the channel a while back. This is the TakCom Grunt, and my only issue with this knife was I'm not a first responder or anything like that. I don't need a seatbelt cutter. And where my hand sits, that little spot right there kind of digs into my hand. I could kind of go past it, but that was the only thing I didn't like on this out the front. It's an M390 steel, beautiful drop point. I love the scales. They're nice and wide. Well, they just released the brand new Bulldog, and Bulldog doesn't have this portion. You can get it in this blade or a sheep's foot, and I'm so glad I got to check out the sheep's foot blade. It's also an M390. I started testing this one the other day, and I like this one a whole lot. They're very well priced, and these are made by Bestech for TakCom. That's their OEM, and Bestech does an amazing job. These fire so hard. Every TakCom out the front that I've gotten is very, very snappy. Every single one of them. This one's no exception. I've fired this thing probably 1,000 times just playing around with it while nobody's here, and I have not had a misfire yet. Hopefully that stays the case, but yep, that's the next one. We have the new AMEIGHT Kermu, I think is how you say it. You have the beautiful small diamond milling on the contour titanium scales. You have a carbon fiber inlay with the aluminum inside it. Looks absolutely stunning. No high spots anywhere. And it's also on this side. I have to say, I like this new pocket clip. It goes in and out of the pocket nicely. Now, if you have thick pants, that it may be a little bit more difficult, but I carried this in my jeans the other day, and my jeans aren't super thick at the seam, so this was fine. I will try to find a thicker pair to see, but it goes out, it goes in and out nice. There's not a huge ramp though, so you know, if you have thick seams, it might be tough to get underneath it and to get in there. But well-placed flipper almost at the top of that pivot, so you're gonna have a lot of momentum once you break that detent. And this, in my opinion, is reminiscent to the Miguron Mero. Of course, Miguron makes the AMEIGHT knives. So it's basically like a smaller flipper version of the Mero. I absolutely love the Mero. I tested and reviewed this one, and I love it. I still love it. It's a front flipper, and I love how they have the blade window there. That's something I wish they would have had on this one. If this one was a little too big for you, then the Kermu might be the one for you. It's nice and lightweight. It's funny, they only have a small milled out pocket right in this little section right here. I'm guessing because of the inlays, but balance point right there. Feels good in hand. And this deep hollow grind on this compound grind is nice and thin. I mean, nice and thin. Cannot wait to start testing this one out. M390 steel, satin finish. You got good jimping there. That's very grippy. Good sharpening choil. Looks like I'll have a good bit of sharpening life. I won't know that for sure till I actually sharpen it. You have somewhat of a more reinforced tip because of the flat grind up here in the front. Nice and smooth out of box, and every Miguron AM8 knife that I've ever gotten gets smoother and smoother over time. You can either let it get there on its own or take it apart, clean it, put your own lube, and it'll probably speed up the process. But I like to break them in before I do that, just so they can get maximum smoothness with the detent ball track forming on the blade. I like this one a lot. Stay tuned for the review on this. And if there's a certain knife you would like to see a review on first, you can also let me know that down in the comments along with your scratch test ideas. This next knife, I've been wanting to have one of these knives on the channel for a really long time, and we finally scored a collaboration, and that is with Herman knives, and this is the Ishtar. Man, it's so cool to be able to work with these guys. I've already started the testing on this thing. Woo-hoo. Look at that beautiful micro milling on the tie, and then check out that stippled pattern up here in the front. Nice, massive polished titanium pivot. Comes with a pivot tool. Now you could use whatever size that is, but it comes with a tool. Tie back spacer, mill tie clip. And the sounds these things make is so cool. It doesn't come across on the speaker for some reason. I guess my mic's not good enough to pick up the sound, but I mean, rockets out. This is a larger knife. This one I thought looked pretty sweet. Love the blade finish. I don't even know what that is. I guess it's a stone wash, but it looks really nice. It's nice and smooth. Very needle-like point there. Now this is in Bowler M398. I've never had that steel. That's why I decided to check this one out. I wanted to test it. It's Rockwell 262 HRC. I don't really know what the range is for M398. I'll have to check that out. The only thing I noticed on the knife that would be a nitpick so far is the sharpening choil. Now, you can kind of see it right here. It's starting to flare. That plunge grind comes down right there. Now, let's see. Can I fix that if I needed to? Yeah, if I want to, I can extend it. I'm sure if I contacted, I'm sure he'd probably do it. I don't know. Tons of internal milling in there. Very comfortable. Like I said, stay tuned for this. If you wanted to see one of these expensive knives get tested, stay tuned because I am testing it currently. Yeah, beautiful action. Nice snappy action. And I'm not even usually a flipper only fan, but the way this one flips, I've heard other people talk about it in the past, but you just got to experience it for yourself. These come from the Polish Custom Knives site. It's a place for all the Polish makers to sell their cutlery. So I'll link them as well as all the other knives down in the description. I saw this on somebody's SHOT Show coverage and I absolutely loved it. This right here is the White River Knives Ursus Cub. I handled the full-size Ursus at Blade Show last year, and I had always wished they would do a smaller version of this. Well, this is the smaller version. It's like 7.6 inches overall. These come in at $200, USA made. It comes with a very nice Kydex sheath. I do wish it was a taco sheath though. I did slap an Alti clip on there and no rattle. It does have their little retention screw there. So if it ever loosens up, I can pull this screw up here and tighten it up. So that's kind of cool. I haven't had the best experience with those, but so far so good. Drainage hole. It holds the knife in. It was actually too tight when I first got it, but I loosened up that screw and it's all good now. 10 CPM MagnaCut steel at 62 to 64 HRC, which I'm perfectly fine with, especially for a fixed blade. Nice sharpening choil. As you can see, I like the way they did that. Very comfortable. Lending my car to scales. Fill out the hand nicely. Yeah, this one I'm really excited about. I can't tell if it has a 90-degree spine or not. I think it does, right? Yeah, it does right here. So you should be able to strike a ferro rod if that's your thing. And we got a new company for me. I've seen them on a lot of people's channels so far, and That is Fobos knives. Tier 1 mini. Comes with this really nice leather sheath. Does anybody know that it almost looks like a Bark River sheath? Does Bark River make Fobos for them? Very nice sheath. I may see if I can find a Kydex for it, but I do like the quality of this sheath. It's nice and supple leather. It's got a nice strap retention, and it's not super hard to get in there. I thought it would be. So you have this beautiful stonewash blade, 154 cm steel. They rock well it to 60 to 61 HRC. I'm going to put this to the test. Now this is supposed to be like an EDC size fixed blade. It's a smaller fixed blade. That's why I decided to check it out. You can choke up on it. I like this little scoop. Now it's a lot more belly than I usually enjoy, but I did love the Nomad EDC from Work Tough Gear, and it seems like that's, you know, close to that same belly like that. It is pretty thick behind the edge. They give you all the specs. It's 27 thousandths behind the edge, which is very, very thick. Hopefully it's a good slicer. Now at least they did do the secondary edge bevel to 18 degrees per side, and it's a convex bevel. So we'll do all the normal testing with this. The handle's really comfortable. Got thick micarta scales with the orange G10 liners. Full tank construction, of course, and a huge lanyard hole back there. I can come back here or up here. Now that jimping is pretty far back. I'm okay with it though, because it hurts my hands because of my beat up hands. But this, I'm worried about this being a little uncomfortable as well. But we'll see. When I choke up, it's not as bad because I'm putting more pressure here. But yeah, I'm excited to check this out. I bought this with my own money. They didn't send this to me or anything. But yeah, we'll see if I enjoy it. Maybe I'll see if I can work with them in the future. We got two new sharpeners, and I just wanted to share these with y'all. So this first one, I still have it on the base. This is coming from, was it Sharpal or Sharpal? I have bought some sharpening stuff from them in the past, but this, I gotta say, has blown my mind. So what you have here is you have a double-sided diamond plate. You have a fine side of 1200 grit, and then the coarse side is 325. And you can definitely get a sharp knife on just this and a strop. You can go just this if you can deburr good on this 1200. It comes with this little sharpening angle guide right here. It's got a 14 degree, 25, 20, and 17. And this thing's magnetized underneath there. They put a little sticker right there. I'm gonna leave that because I can clean that off. I can replace it. And you just put it on the stone, lay your flat on this, and that'll hold your angle. Now, after my accident, it's very hard for me to hold a consistent angle. My dexterity in my hands is just not good anymore because of the accident. I kind of lost all that, but I'm not a quitter, and I refuse to give up. And I have some really nice sharpening plates that I don't get to use anymore. So I figured I would try this one out, see if this would help any. And I gotta say, I was able to get a knife sharp with just this little guide rather easily, and this, it doesn't make any sense. This sharpening plate is so good for the money. The diamond dispersion, I think it's a, forgot what type of process they use on here, but it's nice and flat. The stone's flat. I've tested it on my granite surface plate, and the surface of the diamonds, there's no crazy high spots. I've had some plates in the past when I'm sharpening it catches because there's a high spot. I mean, you can condition them, but this one came perfect. I'm waiting for something to happen or waiting for something to fall apart. Everything's nice and consistent. Super impressed. And you ready for this? Okay, it also comes with a sharpening base that you put it up here with. It has a rubber bottom, so it's not going to slide on you. And this is also a storage container. You open it up, you put the little angle guide here, and then your sharpening plate here. Now, I will say the top right here where it sits, I mean, you don't have to hold it in this, but where it sits, mine doesn't fit all that good, and it wants to cock from one side to another. But if I wanted to, I could sand down one side. It's not the biggest deal to me. Sometimes I hold it in my hand anyway. But this thing right here only costs $70. This is an 8x3, and they also have the 6x2.5 for $45. If it's as good as this, I wish I could send this to my buddy Jared. He's the pro at sharpening. I want him to check this stone out. I am mind blown on how good this is. I want to get his opinion on it. Maybe I will send this to him. I want to keep sharpening on it, see if I notice anything. But super, super impressed with this. One more thing to show y'all. Now, I saw something like this on my buddy Jared Neve's Knives channel the other day, and I thought it was kind of funny because I had one similar on the way. So here's the system. So what this is a fixed angled system to put whatever sharpening plates. It comes with this whetstone, a 1000 grit, 3000 grit. These are usually pretty soft for simple steels, carbon steels and stuff like that. It's made of all aluminum, some steel stuff. You have these little feet on it. You can put it over a sink if you want. These things adjust. You can fit up to an 8-inch long sharpening plate, or I think this is a 6-inch. So you put it in here, this slides this way, it tightens up at the bottom, and that holds your stone in. Comes with a little protractor to check your angle. And check this out, okay? Comes with this little clamp system right here. And a little tool to adjust it. So you put your blade in here, clamp it down. It's got these little roller bearings. You can adjust this by unscrewing it, go up and down. That's for your angle. It's got a little track right here. This rod's in the track. It's very smooth. This will rotate left to right. Now the only thing is, I guess you're not making enough of a rotation, but your angle would change. I would think, you know, well, you're not moving that much. And while your blade's clamped in there, you know, you're holding it light pressure. You can go, you know, if you want to come here, depending on how long it is. Now, the only thing is that I noticed, if you're using an 8-inch stone, your blade's about right here. You're not making it all the way to the end of the stone, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. You could always take the stone out and flip it around. You can flip this around to do the other side. Now, the only thing I did notice, and I think Jared talked about this on the one he was doing, but I think it has some plastic parts. This is all metal, but whenever this thing's unscrewed a little bit, you have a little bit of play. Now, it's not bad. I don't know if you can see that, but any play is going to change up your angle a little bit, no doubt about it. So I'm going to play around with this thing and see how good it works. I'm kind of excited. This would let me use some of my high dollar stones that I bought before my accident, and I would love to be able to use them again. It also comes with this little attachment if you want to sharpen scissors. I'll probably never use this because I have this for my Wicked Edge and I've never used it. I will link this down below. I think this was $119. If it does work properly, I think it's well worth it. Well, that'll do it for today's video. If you have any questions about anything in particular, please ask me down in the comments. I'll do my best to get to you. I hope every one of y'all is having an absolute amazing day. I will see y'all on the next one.